One of my favorite motivational speakers of all time, at least in my top 5, has to be Les Brown. And Les Brown has a very iconic voice, very iconic story. But one of my favorite quotes from him is not to argue for your limitations. So what he said was, and I apologize if I'm paraphrasing, is don't argue for your limitations because then you get to keep them. What's that mean? Don't argue for the reasons why you can't do this. Don't argue for the inability to get to your goal, because you'll be able to continue not to get to your goal. You get to keep those limitations for as long as you argue for them. It's kind of counterintuitive when you think about it. Like, you're telling yourself the reasons why you can't do this, and that becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. You cannot achieve this because of this perceived limitation. And this is one of the values of the best friend rule, and the one that I've taught you in the past, is that if your best friend looked at the situation, would they argue for those same limitations that you're arguing for in your brain? Would they say to themselves, I can't do it because of my age. I can't do it because of my hormones. I can't do it because of my home situation. I can't do it because of my schedule. I can't do it because of this, because of that, this one and that one. No. They would advise you much differently than you advise yourself. So don't argue for the limitations, because you'll be able to keep them. You'll be able to not succeed if you continue to say, this is the reason why I can't. So instead, start looking at the skills that you have. Start looking at the habits you've built. Start looking at things that you've learned. Start continuing, I should say, to practice the habits that are working. And then if you come up with an obstacle, you can overcome it because you have the ability. You have the skill, you have the motivation, and I sure hope by this point that you have the confidence. You can achieve this. So don't argue for your limitations. Argue for your goal. Argue for your dream. Argue for your motivation. Argue for your ability. Argue for your skills. Argue to keep up your habits. And seize this opportunity. Seize this day. Carpe diem. Thank you.